Take a look, there's a meadow mushroom. These start showing up in my yard here in Oregon's Willamette Valley in the fall when the rain comes back but the temperatures are still mild. Older identification books will call these meadow mushrooms Agaricus campestris, but DNA research is making clear that there are genetic differences in what everybody has been lumping together as Agaricus campestris. Hey, welcome to Haphazard Homestead. I'm Holly Chris. I'm glad you're here. The science isn't settled yet, so I'm just going to follow what Dr. Micheal Beug says here in his book, The Mushrooms of Cascadia from the year 2021. He says that whatever we have here in the Pacific Northwest that people have been calling Agaricus campestris, they are all obviously choice edible wild mushrooms. So it's okay to simply call any of these part of the Agaricus campestris group. And that's what I'm going to do, for at least for now. Here are the key features I'm looking at to know these are one of the Agaricus campestris group, the edible meadow mushrooms. See how those mushrooms are white and growing in the grass? Look at those pink gills under the cap, even when the cap hasn't opened yet. Those gills will turn a deep chocolate brown as they get older. It doesn't take long, but those pink gills are important. Now, do you see that thin, fragile ring on the stem? That's where the cap was attached to the stem before it started to open up and expose the pink gills. That's important too. The stems on these are really fragile, and a lot of times the stems are wider halfway down and then taper to a point near the bottom of the stem. Those pink gills are not connected to the stem, and so you can see that means the stem can pop loose from the cap real easy. When you look at the cap, you can see a white ragged edge where it was attached to that ring on the stem before it started opening up. Here's another look at that ragged edge on a slightly older mushroom. You can tell it's older because the gills are turning chocolate brown. Some folks say that ragged edge on the cap looks like a tablecloth hanging over the edge of a table. Another thing I'm looking for is that there's no stains of yellow or red wherever I've touched or messed around with the cap or the stem. And there's a part that you can't see it, you can only smell it. These mushrooms have the same aroma as the standard domestic button mushrooms you can get at the grocery store. In fact, these wild meadow mushrooms are just about the closest thing to those store-bought button mushrooms, except in two ways. The first is that these wild ones taste stronger than the store-bought ones, with a lot more of that really good standard mushroom flavor. The second way is that these wild ones mature faster than the store-bought ones. That means their pink gills turn a deep chocolate brown really fast. You can see that if you look for these two mushrooms when we go into the kitchen. I think you'll be able to recognize this third one too. So let's go to the kitchen. I put those mushrooms in a paper sack in my refrigerator for a full day, hoping I'd find a few more. Because these wild meadow mushrooms mature so fast, you may wonder if they're still good to eat. You can see how these caps look more dingy. That's not dirt. I wiped them all off with a towel the day I picked them. They look a little dry too. That's okay. Dry is okay. Soft and wet and slimy is not okay. I start by looking for any damage, like wet rotten spots or insect damage. But the insides of the caps look bright white and firm. It's not squishy or fragile when I press down on the caps. Some people are turned off by these dark gills because the gills will turn everything dark when I cook the mushrooms. But there's a lot of good mushroom flavor in those gills. It's okay to use the stems too, as long as they're solid and dry and not soft or slimy. I like letting these meadow mushrooms get more mature like this in the refrigerator where insects can't get after them rather than leaving them growing an extra day outdoors. I don't want these mushrooms to get any older than this, so I'm going to cook them now in the evening and then save them for breakfast in the morning. And that is an official bonus tip. Cooking mushrooms keeps them from aging anymore. Even though they look sort of dry, these mushrooms still have a lot of water in them to cook out. This is after 7 minutes. There's a lot of water gone and the flavors are concentrated. They're done. They aren't burnt. This is their color with the gills in there. They taste great. Really good. It is just such classic, rich mushroom flavor. That is so good. Here's another bonus tip. If you want to keep these mushrooms more than a day or two in the refrigerator, put them in a little bowl and put them in the freezer until it firms up, and then take them out of the bowl and then put them in a freezer bag to use later. Don't leave them in the refrigerator more than a day or two. I used these the next morning for breakfast. I was glad to have them already cooked and ready to go because I want breakfast fast and simple. Italian parsley from my garden, half of an elephant garlic bulb that didn't divide into cloves. It only takes a single minute to cook it all up. It would be great on a piece of toast or by itself, but I'm doing 2 eggs with a little water. In the pan, the meadow mushroom mix on top. That is an awkward turn of the omelet, but it all comes out in the end. You'll see. There it is. But does it taste any good? Here's a live taste test review. That's delicious. These have a stronger taste than the ones you get from the store. It's the same mushroom flavor. It's just that you get about a triple dose. I need about 8 times more of that. If you want to see more wild mushroom cooking, check out this video over here. I hope things are going well at your place. Thanks for watching. Bye.